right, sports fans, we are back. Another special episode here for Brotherly Love here on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm your host, Steven Rochelle. I got a special guest joining me this afternoon, this evening, depending on when you're going to be catching us, is Stephen Wright, former offensive lineman in the NFL, former Oakland Raider. You gotta love that team. The Raiders have been synonymous with football just as much as people say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team.
Yeah. We brought the violence to the game.
Not just violence; they just brought like that swagger attitude that like you see in a lot of guys. It just the Raiders kind of redefined like what mean, nasty, hard-nosed football was when right around that merger time and throughout. I still sit there saying right now, I want to see if you agree with me, Steve. Do you feel like that there's like this curse that's been following this organization since the Tuckerell game? It seems like they cannot, anything they try to do to try to make things right, it just literally blows up in their face, from the picks to the head coaching decisions to free agency choices, both to stay and go. It seems like this cloud has been following Raider Nation, for the last 20 years or so.
Right. No, I totally agree with you, Steven. It's I'm not really sure what it is, but no team, even the Patriots, aren't going to stay on top. It looks like they're starting to waver, but they have been cursed, from the front office down to the players to Garoppolo, and but it's
the stuff with Chandler.
It was sure good the years I was there. We weren't the best. I think we were right around 500 for the 7 years I was there. But it's a collection of all the misfits and leftovers, and who they think the game's passed them by. The Ronnie Lotts and everything else. It was just amazing to have these guys, Mike Haynes and all these guys as my teammates. I wouldn't have chose to be in any better place.
It definitely was some special times. They had some special people there, and it's been few and far between. Every time they think they got something, it literally just completely falls apart on them. Bad injuries, bad play calling, bad coaching, whatever. Being a Philly fan, I've seen it all, man. We've been fortunate. These last 10 years or so, as the Andy Reid era ended, and we got unfortunate with the Chip Kelly thing, but then, you guys are rocking. Get a rebuild in there, like they've been able to do, both after winning the Super Bowl in 17, and then now the team that they just put together now has been strong. Even more impressive.
Yeah, it is. They're strong, man. I love playing in Philly, though. Philly was always just the solid fans, the green stands, even though I had to go up against Reggie White, who treated me like a bad stepchild. He beat me up, but it was a great place to play. I caught a couple of balls there. My only catches in the NFL, I always played short yards and goal line tight end, and caught a few balls there. Always loved going to Philly.
And Philly was a fun place to play, and obviously you probably had some fun there during your playing days. What are some of your favorite rivalries? We talk about it now. It kind of looks like over the past 10 years or so, the Eagles and Cowboys have really taken over what rivalry is in the NFL. For sometimes Raiders Steelers had a pretty good one for a significant period of time. I think everyone underestimates the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens rivalry. I think that is an underrated one right now.
Yep. Ours was always the Chiefs, hands down the Chiefs. We had the Broncos and Seattle and the Chargers over in our division there, but it was always Neil Smith for me, Derek Thomas and Neil Smith, and Bill Moss. Got a great story in my book about Bill Moss and I clearing the benches in a brawl. Um, it was always ugly going there, and they usually took it to us in my 7 years. Played them, 14 times or something like that. They had to win at least, 3/4 of them.
And I think I think some of the funniest things I heard about it, I want to ask if you experienced anything like this. Uh, Adam Schefter reported yesterday afternoon after the the Redskins game that none of the players in either opposing or hometown had were able to take showers because there was no hot water, running water, or anything like that in the stadium. Now,
Yeah,
you talked about how much the game has changed. Was there ever situations you ever deal with like that after a game? Because
No, I heard about a lot happening with different teams in different places, but I don't remember it ever happening to the Raiders. We may have done it to a few teams at the Coliseum. I don't know, but it never happened to the Raiders, as far as I know.
it's definitely not something you want to have happen after a rough game too.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely not something you want to see. But now one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is because you got a book coming out, right? Let me
Yes,
pull that
sir.
one up here.
Yeah.
What prompted you to to do a book, do your memoir? How did that whole process come together?
Kind of almost on a spur of the moment. I had kicked it around for probably 10 years and just had the stories in my head. I didn't keep a diary or anything or really have any notes. It was during the pandemic, March last year, and just kicking around with my wife, who is my co-writer on this. But I just started writing and wrote every day for the next 8 months and bounced a few things off of her, and she would clean up, edit some of my writings and add her spices to it. So it was kind of a nice couples thing to do together. But just started writing, and it got a theme to it, of just being a good human being. And I was raised in a loving family, thankfully, and had talent naturally, and then nurtured that through years of different sports, hockey and basketball, track. I was an All-American in high school, started getting scholarships, and ended up at University of Northern Iowa. They had the second dome stadium there, and then signed on with the Dallas Cowboys as a free agent. Myself and two other guys, Everson Walls and Michael Downs, were the three free agents out of 120 in 1981 to make the team, and then went on for an 11-year career. So I had some things to write about. I brought the sideline misting fans to the NFL while I was playing in 1990. Came across that idea and brought it back to our coach and let me try it, and it turned into a kick-ass business. And so when the team was moving to Oakland in 95, I retired and incorporated my company, and a couple of years later cooled the Olympics. So I got great stories there. Some other business adventures. We've got a nonprofit called globalgiving.org, where we collect used sports equipment. I talk quite a bit about that in the book. Traveling around the world, we had partners in the Peace Corps, brought a bunch of equipment down to Tonga and Samoa, met them down there and distributed things. And so there's just a lot of cool stories. And there's just, just some things I just wanted to share, mentors and what they meant in my life, and support, and treating people right. And it just kind of just started pouring out of me as I wrote, with no real intention of where it was going. Just let it kind of take shape. And then the title came to it. It just, my wife came up with that, Aggressively Human. You got to be aggressive, in what we do in sports. And then you've got to be full of humanity and empathy and compassion, and when do you use that? And you've got to have it both in you. I call it the yin and the yang. So had a lot of fun topics to start scratching down, and it turned into a nice book that last week it was the #1 new release on Amazon for there it is for sports and sports biographies and memoirs. So I was super proud of that. I didn't even know that was up, and my publisher called and said, check this,
You were
check
like,
this,
well, I didn't expect
check
that.
this out. Yeah. So it's been going really well. Just doing a lot of podcasts and pumping it. I'm going to go up to the Raiders this weekend. They're having me come up and be an ambassador. And I've got a few book signings up there at the M Hotel, the Raider Tavern and Bar at the M on Saturday night. Little pump there.
Is that this one that I came across, or was that this weekend?
That was this last weekend. The virtual launch was Saturday of this last week.
Okay.
But I'm going up to the Chiefs Raider game this week. They're bringing me up to
there you go.
Walk around in the suites and shake hands and hold babies and
hopefully Coach Pierce gets it back together this week after the loss to Miami yesterday, right?
Yeah, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing the game tonight too, man. Your Eagles in Kansas City.
That's I'm geeked for it, and I got to ask you this one. Like we seen I came across this one, this graphic today, that the Chiefs are 61. The fans on I think it was ESPN said the 61% of people are sitting there saying Kansas City Chiefs are going to pull it out. How do you feel? Like, obviously both of these teams, they're not the same exact teams that we seen go at it in February for the Super Bowl. That was an extremely close game. It would safe to say both offenses are definitely not firing as they did last season. I would say the Eagles' back end is getting a little bit healthy. They've been a little banged up. Jalen's been a little banged up, but when you break it down, Jalen and Mahomes so far this year has been pretty even.
How about those stats?
I don't know how you get more even than that, right?
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm not really following either team real close, but yeah, like you're saying, it comes down to the injuries and attrition at this time of year. What are they in the?
I always say when you have these games like this, Steve, the biggest thing is turnovers. If you can protect the ball and give your team the most amount of attempts to put points on the board, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, right on. Keep your penalties down. Yeah, this is going to be a tight game, and it's going to come down to just a couple of plays.
And I got to get your take on this. Since Philadelphia has become a little bit more popular, that offensive line has probably been one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the NFL over the last 5 years. We've been getting this thing about the quarterback snake that has been in this league forever.
That's so awesome.
And apparently we're getting the game commission is going to be looking at that play to have it removed because it's a rugby play. When did the quarterback sneak become a rugby play? I'm confused here.
It is an awesome play. I love it. And the lineman, it's pride. It's you against the five guys in front of you, and just get down lower and pump your legs. It's what you've been bred to do. I would think that they would just love a play like that. And you guys have mastered it.
I mean, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt when you have probably a generational center in Jason Kelce. I mean, he's just super competitive, and he's not one of these overly big guys, so he can get underneath guys. Yeah. You got the guy next to him, Landon Dickerson, who was a 3-year All-American, and he's been an All-Pro level guard. Then you have Mulata, who you basically get a rugby guy and turn him into basically the best left tackle in football. Outside of that guy Williams and that plays down there in San Francisco. And then you got the captain of it all, paved the lane on the right side. I mean, you have two practically Hall of Famers on your offensive line, and when you have a quarterback like Jalen who can squat 600 pounds, that's kind of where people are like, well, they can't stop him now.
And the NFL is looking at that. I'm not sure why, because it's a little too rough.
Because it's not the big bomb down the field. It's not what did what did Peter King say? It's not visually, it's aesthetic or something like that. What does it matter?
Yeah.
It's a football play. It's not a rugby play because there's no actual scrum.
Right. Yeah. It's
I mean, the only thing about it is you need other teams aren't running it properly, and some guys are getting hurt. A few years ago, Patrick Mahomes did get himself hurt running a play like that. But it's not 99 times out of 100 no one's going to get hurt on that play because you don't build up enough momentum to actually hurt somebody.
Yeah.
It's who's the stronger guy, who has the more will, and who's going to get that that last minute push to get that yard, that inch.
Yeah. So as of right now,
football's all about, right?
Yeah. As of right now, then that's illegal. Is that right? Wow.
Last time I thought that play is what basically football, the foundation of football, was founded on.
Yeah, it's That's what shocks me is just.
And here's the other thing that irritates me is why was no one complaining about this when the Patriots and Tom Brady were basically doing the same thing?
Right.
They had an incredible offensive line, and the fact that Tom Brady was probably one of your taller quarterbacks at the time, he was just basically falling forward and getting the first down. Like no one was sitting there saying when they were doing it. Now we're gonna ban it now. Yeah, it's one of the silly things that you can just point and laugh at the league. It's just like, you do better. This is not something we need to look at.
They're handcuffing the game for sure.
Yeah, and like it's there's a lot of things that handcuffs. Not just the NFL. There's problems with all kinds of with all your major sports. That there's good things, there's bad things, there's things that are in between. But one of the things that are bother me is just how the league is kind of like just sneakily stealing money from some of these guys with some of the silly little rules that we were talking about it off air. Eagles. DeAndre Swift a few weeks ago got hit for a fine, which was a basic NFL play. Running out to the outside. You got the linebacker and cornerback bearing down on you. They're looking like they're going to go low. He puts his head down, his shoulder down to protect himself. Knocks the guy down, gets another 3 yards and falls down. It seems like a normal play, but apparently, following the game, he gets hit with a X dollar fine. The following weeks, there was this kid in Chicago on similar plays 2 weeks in a row. He got hit with a $6,000 fine, and then like another $14,000 fine. So you're stealing like 20, almost 25 grand from this kid in a matter of weeks. Like it's like when is it too much? Like I get protecting players, protecting the game when it's simple stuff like that.
Right.
I have a problem with, man, is you're stealing from these guys. It's hard enough for some of these guys, especially the running backs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the league has implemented 50 new penalties since 2000. I mean, that's just choking the game out. And just, anybody on the defense is got to be livid about all this. It's just everything is for the offense. They just want the high scoring games, but all the penalties is really keep me from watching it. It's just not football like back in my day. I
think one of the ones that I think I get the most irritated about is the one they're hitting linemen on. I got to ask you this one: the down the field penalty that we've been seeing so much over the last 2 years. On some of these broken plays where it winds up being either an RPO or a run play, and the guy's doing his job, blocking the guy down the field, and he blocked him too well. He's past the line of scrimmage. It's a penalty that big 15, 20-yard gain you just got down the field is now nullified.
Yeah. Drag, but in reality, you're just supposed to hold them on the line if it's a pass play. Yeah, just hold them at the line. You kind of taught that from day one, not to be pushing them down the field and cross over the line. So, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the guys that are getting penalties for that. You know, if they're driving a guy down the field, that's not real bright. You know, and at least in my book, hold him on the line, chop him, let him get up, chop him again, or do something. But you can't be downfield. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I guess I'm feeling a little stung by it because it's the one we get caught on the most.
You guys are getting called a lot on that?
Oh
Yeah.
man, we get hit for it all the time, and it's always one of these ones where it's just like these guys are getting beat up, and like Lane or Landon Dickerson or whoever, they're just beating their guy up, and I guess not
Yeah.
realizing how far away from the line of scrimmage they are. It's 2, 3 yards, 5 yards. Sometimes it's just
finally their chance to make them pay and drive them into the ground. Yeah.
Problems to have when you're 8-1.
Wow, beautiful! Congratulations.
I think the biggest surprise right now is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Like you look around the league, they're 8-2. I think the last time they were 8-2 was like 1960.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It's awesome.
It's a fun
to
time,
see.
like
yeah.
we were talking about right before we came on was like the dynasties and things like that. I don't think the way the leagues have developed now, we're not going to see too many teams go win 2, 3 Super Bowls.
No.
Like like the 49ers did, like the Cowboys did, Steelers, things of that nature. I don't see you're going to see dynasties anymore.
I don't believe so either. Kansas City's been rolling strong, and looks like Philly. Looks like you guys are moving up to possibly stay there for a while. I don't know. I don't know that the depth of your charts or anything, but no, I think they've been trying to keep that at bay for a long time, and it's worked to a point. But when you got a team like the Patriots just owning it for so long, yeah, it gets boring to watch. So, yeah, I think they're. I think it's their obviously their goal. They don't want one team in there owning it for this long.
I mean, where you're sitting there saying you don't know where we're at. I think we have a window where we could potentially put something together, but you got to take care of business first. You got to stay healthy. You got to win in January, and you've been around the league and watched this game long enough. It is one of the hardest things to do year in and year out.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's tough on everybody. Once you start winning, it's the guys need more money, and they're going to get offered something else at another team. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I wouldn't like to be the CFO managing all those contracts, and it's that's a real trick.
It is. I think luckily we got a guy that knows how to bend and move and work some things. We were pretty hard on him. I guess the end of the Chip Kelly era, he was kind of the scapegoat for the whole situation. But brought us a Super Bowl. Now he some of the deals he's made over the past few years, it's almost like you hear his name. Most of the teams don't want to pick up the phone. They feel like they're about to get taken over or something.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think that the important thing is to have all of it, the coach, the team, the front office, everything that put into place to kind of get that longevity. And it's one of the hardest things to do, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Raiders will finally settle on a nice front office, and then Antonio Pierce seems like the team likes him. Look forward to getting up there next week and watching it a little bit closer. But love to see Antonio just hang in there.
I like that. I like that hire. I like that he's getting a chance, man.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Like I was hoping, like when we were going through the hiring process after Doug left, that it would maybe be someone like Deuce, because one, he was a Philly guy, but you would also like to see some of those guys in those positions like Deuce Staley, like Antonio Pierce, to get some more of that shot. Where I think next season we'll see Eric Bieniemy be the head coach of the Washington Commanders, and we're going to see some more of these guys get these opportunities. I think
Right.
D'Amico Ryans, considering what the Texans are doing this year, is probably almost a shoo-in for Coach of the Year, despite what Nick Sirianni's done over the last few seasons. I think you're seeing some more of these guys get opportunities, former players, guys that have been in there, not just the the minds that what we used to continually call what was the player coaches, right?
Right. Yeah.
But these guys are more than player coaches. We could, these guys are bookworms just as much as your Parcells and your Belichick's of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see the Rooney Rule circumvented and more black coaches in there. And I'm loving to see Antonio pop in there and do well. Love to see him locked into a long contract. Would be ideal, especially for the Raiders, who've always been the ones that push the envelope there and bring in the guys of color.
And I don't even think it's just the guys of color thing. And I agree there are some teams who circumvent the Rooney Rule, but I also think it's just because they have a particular guy they want. And
It's always it.
sometimes bringing them in is almost a disservice to them, because it's like, you're not even really the guy I want. I already know who I want for this.
It's exactly right.
It's not fair in some situations, but I think it's a disservice for them in some.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be there for some of those people who still feel that way, and we know there's people that still feel and think that way. Hopefully, some of these people that are in these positions will die off, and we don't have to deal with them anymore.
Right on.
But
yep.
until then, we have to have this stuff in place. But I love the opportunities that some of these guys are getting. I do hope that Pierce is a guy that stays on and builds some culture
right.
out there. I think he has that relatable attitude, but also that hard work ethic that he'll demand the best out of him. So
mm-hmm.
he may not have been everyone's choice, but I think when we look back at this in a few years, hopefully he gets them out of this rut they've been in a while, and the bad lucks of coaches with McDaniels, and then the situation with Gruden. It's just been it seems like it's just been one thing after another with the Raiders. And obviously moving around all the years now, actually sitting there in Las Vegas now. Las Vegas is pretty much has everything but a basketball team there, right?
I think they've got the world champion women's basketball.
They do have the world champion women's baseball. I mean, I'm talking about the NBA though. That's the only
one.
Yeah. Because they just got the Oakland A's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you already had the Knights have already won a championship within the first 10 years of existence. So you got to give Wayne Gretzky props for that. So
I think they're talking about bringing Sacramento over, I believe. I think Sacramento
would be smart to get one of those basketball teams out of LA. It would be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always thought LA they just oversaturated. I get it; it's one of the biggest states that we have on the West Coast, but you don't need to have 5 basketball teams in one state.
Yeah,
especially when most of them are within a couple hundred miles of each other. It's a little bit of overkill. I would like to see a team like Sacramento or even the Clippers or something like that to get sent out there to be Las Vegas' baseball team. That would be fun.
At least they're consolidated over here. It's to spread the NFL into Germany and other places is just it looks silly to me. I mean, can you imagine going over as a team? I played in a few other places. I played in Japan and played in Germany, played in London. It was just a nightmare to try to do that. It'd be easy for the teams up here, Sacramento. And
I think if you're going to do it, you do it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like whoever's going to do it, you do it the first few weeks and week 1, week 2, and get it out the way. But then the rumor is that they are doing the expansion, and Jacksonville is probably going to be the first casualty of teams getting sent over.
Yeah, silly to me, but it's 32 billionaires that make the calls. So
that's the NFL's call. I mean, they're trying to grow it more globally outside of the United States. I get that. I mean, I would first put a team in Mexico, maybe Canada first, before I go directly to to London and things of that nature.
yeah.
Not to sit there and say it's a bad idea. I don't know what the numbers are, what their viewership is out there, what they do out there, but I still don't think it's enough to thrust that situation on what a normal schedule is for that in the NFL season to put on a team. I mean, could you imagine that uh, like during a playoff time having a fly all the way out to London, dealing with the time. There's a lot of different variables that people don't understand.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
I get it. Like when it's a business, you do things how you want, but I just think that's a bad move right now. Like you still don't. You're already getting to the point where we're talking about at some point in time, in the next 10 years, we may even get down to 20 game season. I'm like, that's freaking insanity.
Yeah,
So
just,
I mean,
just
like
more
football
money.
games are it's already hard enough for them to keep the 53 men on the roster that starts the season and ends the season. So I mean, unless we're talking about expanding a roster to almost 70 or something like that, paying these guys even more what you're paying them, because that's another thing I want to ask you. This past offseason, the ridiculous amount of money being thrown at quarterbacks was just on full display. I mean,
Yeah.
Daniel Jones got a contract, Lamar Jackson got a contract, Jalen Hurts got a contract. They were just handing out quarterbacks, $200 million contracts like it was out of style.
Yeah, well,
And maybe two of them deserved it.
I think a good chunk of the owners are involved with the gambling too, aren't they? The gambling sites, and so they got a huge revenue coming in from those. They got more money to throw around, and then in the collective bargaining agreement, the players I think are receiving 49% of that. So, yeah, it's just going to continue going up. I remember back when I was making $30,000 for the year, and Howie Long got into the league as the number 2 draft pick for the Raiders. He signed a $75,000 bonus, and his salary was, I think, 40, 50, and 60,000. And and everybody thought how big of money that was back then. And you just could feel that the money was going to keep climbing, and it still is. Now you got,
it goes up every year, like the number 1 pick every year, like they sign for more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah, pretty crazy. He's never proved himself. I went through so many number 1 draft picks that got big money, and they were out of the league in 2 or 3 or 5 years.
And you just brought it up. You said number 1 draft picks that never amounted to nothing. Did you hear the news this week about Bernard Williams?
No.
All right, so Bernard Williams was one of the Philadelphia Eagles' first-round draft picks at the end of the Rich Kotite era. Played 1 year. At the season end, he tested positive for marijuana. They suspended him for a year, and never enlisted to have the suspension done. He was still on the suspension list till last week. So the last 29 years, he's been on the league suspension list for some oversight, right?
Wow.
He's gone on to play in the CFL, the XFL. He's done all that, all that. But
and 51 years
of age, he was finally released off of the suspension list and officially released from the Philadelphia Eagles this week.
Wow. And probably took a big chunk of money with him too, as just a signing bonus and a showing up bonus. And that just came out of other guys' pockets. No fault of his own, but to put that money with an unproven person, I don't care if they're the number 1 draft pick, he's going to get into the league and maybe blow his knee out, but he's going to take a ton of money, and it's going to come from guys that are in their 3rd, 6th, 8th, 12th year that have families and everything else and have been grinding it and improving themselves. I got an issue with I think they cap the salaries, but the bonuses and the showing up bonus and the signing bonus and everything
Yeah, the
else.
signing bonuses,
Yeah, it's just
how they flex around that now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is a bit nuts, but we're also now in a day and age where now the collegiate athlete is finally going to be paid for their likeness and things of that nature, and they're going to be allowed to get sponsors and things of that nature. So, I think now that we're starting to get to the modern age, those things of that nature. Don't you think the NCAA should return some Heisman trophies back to one Reggie Bush?
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, this it's crazy, and it's I don't know. I haven't thought through it too much, but it's just not right to be paying these guys that much. But
I'm not saying they're
and
trying to
but
pay
then the coaches,
to pay
the
an
coaches are
18-year-old killed
I'm sorry, go
millions and
ahead.
millions of dollars, but the just to make sure that these kids are not sitting there starving for food, trying to fight for this, that, and the third. Make sure they're in a better place. So you know they're not doing something they shouldn't do just to make sure they have what they need.
Yep, and the coaches are making 10, 12 million. So yeah, I agree that the players should be making a little bit as well.
It's definitely a new age when it comes to what the professional athlete gets done, even what the collegiate athlete is going to be getting taken care of. So we're
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely interesting to see what professional athletics has kind of evolved into over the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, big business.
Yeah, big business is right, and
Yeah.
now we have ESPN and Fox News and everyone going crazy over who Travis Kelsey is dating because he's dating Taylor Swift. So now that whole situation is I'm probably going to be bombarded with an insane amount of Taylor Swift talk tonight outside of just watching the Eagles and Chiefs duke it out.
Right.
Everything's about media. It's about the next thing to talk about, the next scandal, the next thing to overcome.
Yeah, it's the same with the players. It's more about them and how they're looking and how they're working with the fans and their social media than I don't know, more so than playing or being a team player. That's coming from an old school guy.
Now, one of the things that we were talking about before you came on is you said you had some fond memories of Philadelphia. What and was it getting thrown around like this by this guy?
Yeah, yeah, he was a bear, man. He was larger than large and strong and fast and smart and had the hump move from hell. If you got leaning on your outside foot, he was going to throw you that way and come underneath, and or just put his both hands right into your chest with his long arms and drive you backwards. You had to be on your game. There's the Raiders. I don't know if I got to be in there. That might be me. Just over Hostetler's shoulder next to Max Montoya is 65. So yeah, Reggie might have been coming on the inside of me on that play. He didn't need to show that one.
I just pulled up Packers Raiders. That's the one that came up as the sad
Yeah,
part.
yeah, he was a bear. You definitely didn't sleep well the night before the game.
Where do you think he was probably his best? Was it those late '90s, early '91 Eagles teams, or when he got to Green Bay and he really at that point in time he had almost perfected that inside outside move.
Yeah, that big hump move. He'd throw that big right club, either one, but his inside club knocking you out, so he could come underneath.
That's what normally would happen when he got the club.
Yeah, yeah, he was the baddest at his time for sure.
I still think
Made my day at the vet very unpleasant.
I don't think it would have been. Anytime you got to line up against Reggie, and I would assume at that time it was Jerome or Mike Pitts next to him.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough.
Yeah. It sure was. It was.
I mean, and the thing is, like you look around today's NFL, like there's no one that plays like him. I'm like, you could probably say Myles Garrett reminds you of him, but he's just so much of a different type of athlete. You can't say that like that reminds me of Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
But
no.
like I can't sit there and say there's anyone in today's NFL that plays like Reggie played.
No, Reggie, what did he play at, like 310 or something, and moved like a guy that's weighing 230. His agility and his strength were just off the charts.
I think that's why us Eagles fans are a little bit more excited of the potential of what Jalen Carter could be, because he's with the Dallas game they were triple teaming him. So I mean, you have to say we're looking good inside with those Georgia Bulldogs we stole from them the last few years.
Right.
So I'm interested to see. You know, I haven't started to see the Reggie like things that people were sitting there saying initially for him, but he does command a lot of attention, and he does move some big guys around like they're nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys got a big machine, man. I wish you all the best tonight.
Yeah. What are you feeling like? What obviously you've already said you don't follow super closely, but from what you're gathering, what are you feeling? You know, I know it's the betting lines too. Do you feel like this is going to be a defensive battle, considering everyone loves to talk about Jalen and Patrick, but I think that the Chiefs defense and the Eagles defense might show up a little bit more tonight.
I think everybody's going to show up tonight. The thing I think is silly is the spreads. I'm not a gambler, but to an athlete, to a player who's playing in the game, it doesn't make a difference if you won by 1 or 20. Oh, we missed the over under. Oh, they got us by 2. They got us by 6. No, they beat you. It's a win or a loss. In my mind, I'm just not a gambler, and I think it's gonna rear its ugly head as it moves forward. I think I've watched too many gangster movies where people have been, where people have been
mentioning that like a lot of guys are getting suspended across sports for betting, and I think like it's one of these things like we know guys bet. And athletes bet, but sitting there punish them for betting on themselves is I have an issue with. Yeah. I get it that there's another side of that. I do, because there are people that are gonna, we've seen people, both players, referees, everything in between get caught up in scandals, through all sports. Yeah. So it's like it's not one of these things to be surprised about, but it's like when you have sensationalize it the way you have, you can't sit there and get, like we just last year, Calvin Ridley lost his whole season for betting on himself. I found that crazy.
Yeah.
But Pete Rose is banned for life.
I think, as I told you, Steve, I don't keep up with any of it. I'm not, I'm a minimalist. I even got rid of my television. So I don't watch any games unless I'm going someplace. Yeah. But hey, it's been good rapping with you, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. As I wrap it up, throw the proverbial microphone over you. Anything you'd like to say, Steve, before we go?
If you want the greatest football memoir out right now, it can be found on my website at wrightauthor.com. I've got all my blogs in there. I've got a ton of pictures of Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen and Howie Long and myself and others. And then it's got the hot links to Amazon. And if you want to, hit me up with a DM, and I'd love to send you over an autographed copy, personalized to yourself. So, but it's been a pleasure to be on.
Likewise, brother. I'll definitely take you up on that offer. And again, I'm gonna when I get mine, I'm also gonna order an extra one. And anyone who does get one, I got some autographed memorabilia that I grabbed the Steve off of social media here. We're gonna get
Sweet.
graded up for you and send out for you guys. Steve, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Steven.
Hopefully you go see your Raiders win this Sunday, my friend.
Right on. All right, man. Thank you.
Catch everyone.
Cheers.